recognized. I've worked at Bookshop since June of 2019, and it's honestly been one of the best jobs I've ever had. Since the beginning of the pandemic, however, as many other workers in Santa Cruz, thank you, in Santa Cruz can probably sympathize with, I've had to see many of my friends at work leave. The reasons behind this are usually either due to the skyrocketing cost of living in Santa Cruz or health concerns leaving their home during a growing pandemic without health insurance. We've seen in recent years an inspiring push in the book-selling industry for workers to unionize. Our friends at Verso Books were just recently voluntarily recognized, and our friends at Green Apple Books, Elliot Bay, and Powell's have been a huge inspiration to us as we've worked hard with the CWA to ensure that our requests were reasonable and fair. There was an immediate and heartwarming show of support among many of my coworkers, seeing the great potential in a proper channel of accountability and a collective voice among workers to ensure that no one's needs are left out.
Yes.
For the store, we have an ultimate goal of sustainability and continued business. A union has the potential to cut down on employee turnover and thus provide a sense of stability and job security. Our big three main requests that we want to negotiate with Casey about are healthcare, a safe working environment, and living wage. During a pandemic, the access to healthcare is crucial. The ability to access a network of healthcare professionals available to answer your questions and be there with the care you require is an undeniable weight off your shoulders. Santa Cruz's rent market is astronomically expensive. As many hourly workers can attest to, the minimum wage in Santa Cruz is not a living wage. And these hourly workers provide irreplaceable service to Santa Cruz. Without us, there is no bookshop, there is no coffee shops, no ice cream parlors, and no boardwalk. Santa Cruz economy lives because of us, and we can't afford to live here. We see the value in a living wage for all downtown workers as we work through a deadly pandemic to ensure our beloved businesses are able to sustain themselves. We also recognize in Santa Cruz and all over the world a need for a work and retail environment that is safe for both customers and workers. As such, Bookshop Santa Cruz workers are requesting an alternative to policing. We are expected to call the police in many situations and to have a relationship with the Santa Cruz Police Department. But many of us do not feel this is a desirable relationship and wish to find better, safer alternatives to requiring any police presence in our store or ideally downtown. Thank you so much for coming out and supporting us. It really means a lot to us as we work through this together.
All right, next up we've got Councilmember Sandy Brown.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jeffrey Smedberg. I am Executive Vice President of the Monterey Bay Central Labor Council. For those of you who may not know what the Central Labor Council is, it's the union of the unions. We we have 80 affiliated unions in the Monterey and Santa Cruz County area, representing 38,000 working families who are affiliated with these, who are members of these unions. And our role is to provide a collective voice for all of these union members. We are hoping that the Bookshop Santa Cruz owners realize the opportunity that we have to partner up in the spirit of community that has seen our beloved bookstore through the fight against corporate booksellers, the Loma Prieta earthquake, and now the COVID pandemic. With immediate recognition of the union by card check recognition and the beginning of negotiations toward a first contract. We hope to encourage the Monterey Bay to buy Union this winter at the Union Bookshop. Many of you here joined me in voting this year for our new president, Joe Biden. And as you've heard Joe Biden declare, that union membership needs to be increased. The future of the middle class depends on a strong labor movement and many people joining unions. And so what the Bookshop Santa Cruz, the choice they have is to recognize card check, just to recognize the fact that these members, these employees have chosen to join a union, or they could ask for a NLRB vote, a National Labor Relations vote, and that would be bringing in members of the Trump administration to administer an election. And I don't think we need the Trumpsters to come into town, and it would be much better for all of us to have labor peace and have the bookshop just go ahead and recognize the will of the workers. Thank you very much.
Hi everybody, I'm Veronica Hamilton. I'm the chair of UAW 2865, the UC Student Workers Union. We were fighting for COLA earlier this year, and we're glad to be fighting with Bookshop Santa Cruz workers for better working conditions. I'm so glad to be here today to celebrate the collective power of Bookshop Santa Cruz workers. Just as unionized grad workers know, Bookshop Santa Cruz workers know that through collective power, that when we fight, we win. The fight for unionization for bookshop workers is not just for Bookshop Santa Cruz. This is a win for all of downtown Santa Cruz. This is a win for all of Santa Cruz because this is the beginning. If you're a worker and you're not represented by a union, Bookshop Santa Cruz workers have demonstrated today, they've demonstrated this week, they've demonstrated that now is the time to start talking to each other. Now is the time to start talking to your coworkers, your friends, your comrades. Talk about the conditions at work, talk about what is unacceptable, talk about what will make it better, and now's the time for change. All right, thank you everybody, and congratulations Bookshop Santa Cruz and Santa Cruz all together.
Sandy Brown. I have been a labor community activist in this town for many, many years, decades now. I've been a union member, I've been management, and I can tell you that labor peace is the most important thing. And when we can find ways to work together, we win, we all win. The workers here have demonstrated so much courage. I just want to say, huge shout out to you guys. Huge. Bookshop Santa Cruz is a wonderful bookstore. It is a local icon, and we have that because you do the work. So, I'll say one other thing. I organized several living wage campaigns here many, many years ago. And when we found out that the city of Santa Cruz had 600 non-unionized workers who were, temporary, etc. They were not being treated. They didn't have a voice on the job. Nothing. So we got the city of Santa Cruz. I see one council member who was on that council at the time to declare labor peace, to agree to card check neutrality. And when that happened, the union organizing effort went really smoothly. There have been no problems since. And so when we have labor peace, when we have card check neutrality, that's the way to make it all work. And so I just want to encourage you to keep going, and I'll be here with you every step of the way.
My name is Rodney Gonzalez. I'm the Executive Vice President of CWA. It's Communication Workers of America. I wanted to explain a couple of things, but one thing is that when we look at unionism, and we look at how it's developed, one of the main principles is people who have a need to gather together to have a voice. That's what's happening here right now. I'll tell you, when the young women that came together and they reached out, it's not about CWA. We're going to help them develop their own union. But I'm going to tell you, from Monica Alvarado, our Secretary Treasurer, to our person from our district, we are so impressed in these young women, and they're already focused on what they need to get done. They're driven, and that's an important piece of this thing, because when you look at it all, when we had borders down the street, it didn't last, right? Everybody in Santa Cruz wants to support Bookshop Santa Cruz. One of the people in the committee had said that most of the people in Santa Cruz believe that it's a magical place. So there's not this need to sit there and want to fight or put a bad name on Bookshop Santa Cruz. It's an important part of our community. So what I will tell you is, when we go through the process of getting them recognized, I want you to understand that the fact that these young women that spearheaded this campaign reached out for help, it takes a lot of courage. I don't care what your gender is. If you're going to get together and you're going to put on that fight, so impressed with these people. The core group of women that are here, so impressed. So I ask you all, please stay in touch. This is not going to be a race. It's going to be a marathon. And I know that we're going to be successful in helping them unionize here at Bookshop Santa Cruz. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. Can y'all hear me? Yeah, this is all right? My name is Citlalli Aparicio, and I've been a worker at Bookshop Santa Cruz for almost a year and a half now, as well as being a full-time student at UCSC. I know. I'd like to start off by giving my absolute thank you to everyone here and everyone who's been in such a show of solidarity online. And I'd really like to extend my deepest gratitude to all of my coworkers who have now become my comrades. I'm here today in total support of unionizing because I, like everyone else that I work with, love books. And because we love books, we love Bookshop, and we want it to be better. Independent bookstores everywhere, Bookshop included, and maybe even especially, have been centers of community and conversation and creation for so long. And these centers of community, alongside with having great books, also need to respect the dignity of labor. That's what makes Bookshop Santa Cruz different from Amazon. And that's why we need Casey Prati to recognize our union. This pandemic has hit everyone personally, as well as hitting indie businesses especially hard. And as booksellers, we believe that the only path to a sustainable future for books and bookstores is organized work. The future is living wages. The future is healthcare. The future is job security. The future is a workplace and a community space free of police. The future is worker power. And with that, I'd like to encourage all of the other downtown workers around me to educate and agitate and organize their own workplaces. Because downtown Santa Cruz and these local businesses that live here will only survive the pandemic unionized. Now I'd like to try a little chant moment if everyone is okay with it. So I'll say, union power's on the rise, and y'all will say, now's the time to organize. Union power's on the rise.
Now's the time to organize.
Union power's on the rise.
Now's the time to organize.
Union power's on the rise.
Now's the time to organize.